Shalom Kulam. I'm Adam Wasser from Crown Heights, Brooklyn, and welcome. When looking at what is immoral and what is immoral, we look at the world around us today and we see a society that is very free and very open. A society that is more open and free than previous generations. In previous generations, the idea of what is moral and what is immoral was very easy because it was a black and white issue. There was no questions involved. But today, we are very lucky because we have the question and we can actually debate it and work with it. For me, when looking at the world around us and trying to figure out what is moral and what is immoral, I look at the Torah, I look at the different stories of the Bible and the different characters. And the Torah, we have to remember, is a guideline, a storybook in how to live our lives and how to go about this. We have 613 laws in the Jewish Torah, and in the idea that there are 613 laws that the Jewish people must follow. There are 7 laws of the Noah laws, the laws that the non-Jews must follow. And following these laws and understanding them, we look at the Torah, we look at the stories of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, of Sarah, Leah, and Rachel, and understanding how to go about these laws. So here's the question. What is immoral and what is moral? In Judaism, for a woman to cover her hair, for a woman to wear a kerchief, when a woman is married, a Jewish woman, she covers her hair with a tichel, with a babushka, with a shadel, a wig, something that covers her hair. The idea behind this is that everyone should know that she's married and she's a married woman. So a man who's not married isn't going to come up to her and try to seduce her. There's other laws, like in a Jewish synagogue, that men and women are separated. That women are on one side, the men are on another. There's a sheet or a curtain that separates them, so that when you pray, you have God in your mind. You don't have the chick next to you. You don't have the guy next to you. It's just you and God, and there's nothing of distraction. Hopefully. There's other things, that how we dress. A guy will dress from the shoulder, from the ankles to the elbows. This way, he is not showing much of his flesh. A woman will from her elbows to her knees. And what's the idea behind this? Because you're there for your husband, you're there for your wife. Who are you trying to turn on? Who are you trying to attract? You're living your life for God. You're living your life to be one with God. This is the whole idea of being religious. Being anybody is that connection. And when you're married, you're for your husband, you're for your wife, not for the person next to you, not for your neighbor. When we look at a religious Jewish world, there's there's divorce, but it's minute compared to the rest of the world, and many reasons because of this modesty, because of the idea that we don't try to live our lives in a provocative sexual way. We try to live our lives in a more humble and proper way, and modesty plays a lot with that. And these laws don't necessarily make sense. A lot of us will look at these laws and say, this is old-fashioned, this is humbug, this is not for me. But we have to remember, these rabbinical laws are put in place so that we don't break the other laws of committing adultery, of giving charity, of being humble. Because let's face it, when we are being sexy, when we are presenting ourselves in a I'm good looking, I'm all this, we lose track of what is important, what is appropriate. And many times the people that come towards us are not the people that are actually our friends. They are actually the people that are attracted to our physical part of ourselves, but not our actual selves. The Torah is not simple to understand, and these laws are not simple. I'm giving you to them in a simple format. But ultimately, the rabbis of ancient times, of Babylon, sat down and spent their time thinking about these things and how to put them together. Spent years, their whole lives, trying to figure out what is immoral, what is modest, what is appropriate. And I'm just trying to give it to you in a quick video. Ultimately, we live in a world that in many ways is immodest and very into itself, very much into sexuality and openness and inappropriacy. Today, adultery, unfortunately, has become something like, oh, they committed adultery, I forgive them. Oh, they committed adultery, that's life. It's not alright, it's not appropriate, and it's wrong. Committing adultery is immoral and inappropriate, and that is my opinion, and the Torah, or God's opinion. But for your average human being that does not even believe in God, it is inappropriate. People accept adultery because they don't feel they have a choice in the matter, because they feel it's so common that they just have to. But we don't have to accept it. It is not something that we have to accept. We just choose to accept it because we've chosen to reduce our immorality and our modesty in life. We choose to accept that our children are giving condoms at 12 years old in school. We choose to accept that our children are learning about sex at 15 years old in school because kids are having sex, so we have to teach them. Well, why? Why do we have to accept it? Why must we accept that our children are having sex? Our babies are free to give condoms out. We give them condoms and we allow them to have sex? This is something that we accept because they're all doing it? Why not focus on trying to prevent sexual contact? Why not focus on trying to bring morality and common decency into the school instead of accepting it? Why must we accept it? We don't have to accept it. We choose to accept it. The Torah gives us stories. They give us guidelines through the prophets, through the Moses and so forth, in how to live our lives and how to be just. Yes, being wealthy, having money is a blessing, but at the same time it is a curse because it allows ourselves to say we want the money, so we're going to walk away from the immorality because it's easy, because we want the money, we want the freedom. Yes, we live in America and there's a depression, there's a problem going on, but no matter what, we are still a wealthy country. We are walking away from immorality because we are so attracted to the freedom and freedom. We don't have to live in a world that is immoral. We don't have to live. You don't have to wear a hat. You don't have to wear black and white like me. You don't have to cover up like me. But at least give yourself the opportunity to live in a way that you want to live, in a modest way, in an appropriate way. And don't make compromises in this, because you don't have to make compromises when it comes to modesty and morality. You don't have to dress like me. You don't have to live your life like me. But if you wish to be modest, if you wish to be moral, if you don't want your children to be learning about sex at 15 years old and getting condoms in school like they get candy, you don't have to. Now, yes, you might have to say to yourself, well, what kind of community am I going to live in? Where's my standards? What church? What synagogue? What mosque? Where am I going? But ultimately, being modest, being humble, being appropriate, is not something that's just an idea. It is something that brings happiness and joy. It helps prevent infidelity, adultery, immodesty. And I pray that as time goes on, as we continue to lose these values that we hold so cherished in our lives, that before we lose them, we'll realize how important it is to keep them. And we'll learn from the Torah and from the Rabbinical thing of how to keep them. Because we can't just say we want to keep them. We can't just assume that they'll be there because they're in our hearts. We have to actually learn them and follow them in a way that we might not necessarily like to, but is ultimately a key part in how we follow and how we keep them alive. God bless you all. I love you, and Amen.